We're in Marston's Mills, Massachusetts, on Old Cape Cod, just up the road from Hyannis. As you may know, there are a few famous Irish-American families around here. Among them, Phil and Emma Jane Burns. Now, what makes them so famous, you say? Well, you'll see when we make their holiday recipe for turnips.
And trust me, you are going to fall in love with Thanksgiving turnips.
There's a legend in your family, Ma Mahoney.
Yep, Margaret Catherine Trainer, her name was, before she married Bartholomew Patrick Mahoney.
That does sound Irish to me.
And the two of them came over from Ireland, I guess, probably the late 1800s.
Did you ever cook in the kitchen with her?
Oh, yeah. When I was born, we lived with my grandmother and grandfather, so I was with my grandmother all day, and I was the taster. And when she would
lucky guy.
I know it. When she'd prepare, supper, I'd be right there to help her.
Well, as you see, I shouldn't say typical, but I'm going to say typical old Irish type grandmother, completely dedicated to Phil and his family.
She was a good cook, and one of the things that I loved and that she made every Thanksgiving were turnips.
I have never cooked turnips in my life.
Really?
Yeah. And you have?
Yes, many times.
Many times. How many years?
Geez, I would say probably 40.
So lead me. Show me.
Okay. Well, the first thing we do is peel them. And I peeled them by cutting down through the center of these babies.
What kind of peeler did Ma have?
Ma used the knife.
I see you got your recipe handy right here.
Yes, indeed. Now I just have to dice these.
Okay.
A couple more slices and we'll be able to put these on. We're almost finished now. The hard work is behind us.
Oh, and I'm worn out.
Yeah, I know, me too. Anyway, now you think that we sort of load these things up with mementos from Ma, but as I reach for the sugar to put in here, here's a spoon that was Ma's.
Ma Mahoney's spoon.
Ma Mahoney sugar spoon. And we reach up, we put the sugar in, and that's to take some of the bite out of the turnip. Not that there's a lot in there, but we put in 2 tablespoons of that. Okay, now we're ready to put this on the stove. Right over here, turn on the burner.
And Phil, how long will those cook?
An hour. Takes a good hour to cook those.
With the turnips cooking on the stove, Phil starts
Little
an
butter
onion
to put in
saute
there
with half a stick of butter and a large Vidalia onion.
Okay, now we're ready to add a few seasonings.
Great.
We put in a tablespoon of garlic powder. We put in a quarter teaspoon of salt.
Good deal.
And we put in, I say, several grinds of freshly ground pepper. And
A liberal dose of pepper.
done. So now we just put that over on the stove and wait for it to saute. Okay, now it's time for the bacon. Now I put 2 pieces of this aside, and we save that for the last item. We put that on top of the turnips before we put them in the oven. Now, I also put the bacon fat that I've saved in the fridge in the pan, and this bacon will sort of deep fry in its own fat, and each of the pieces then is uniformly cooked. Comes the bacon. Now's a good time to check these turnips to see how they're coming along. We've got a nice simmer.
They're a little darker in color now, aren't they?
Yeah, they appear to be coming along nicely.
Yeah. That's not a brand new spoon, is it?
No, as a matter of fact, this was Ma Mahoney's spoon. I can still see her tasting out of that spoon when she'd stir.
So she did taste.
She did. Oh yeah, she was a taster. I helped her.
When we come back, what sweet ingredient adds a special New England flavor to this dish? And another of Ma Mahoney's treasured kitchen tools is put to good use in this classic Thanksgiving recipe when calling all cooks.
My goodness.
I tell you, it looks great.
Oh, it does
It
look
looks
good.
good.
My first taste of your turnips. Wow. I can see how Ma's recipe makes your Thanksgiving special.
I think this is the best I ever made.
I don't doubt it.
terrific.
Phil Burns, thank you.
You're welcome. You know, I still have copies of Ma's original cookbooks. Some Pillsbury's, you know, from back in the, like 1914.
I've been to many Thanksgiving celebrations through the years, but at Phil Burns' house, there's a special and unique feeling that comes from great food, warm smiles, the wink of an eye, and the love for a special lady who will always be remembered as Ma Mahoney.
Let's drink a toast to Ma.
Here's a toast to Ma.
Come on.